We have like a little outline, a little rundown. We're going to talk about setting and negotiating rates, how to determine what to charge for your services, and how to effectively communicate and negotiate with clients. Maybe not that part because we really want to talk about more about the money stuff. Pricing strategies, understanding like different pricing models available to freelancers and how to choose the best one for your business, determining your worth. So things like factors to consider when setting rates, like experience, skills, market demand, increasing your rate. So this is actually something that I tweeted about yesterday, how and when to raise rates and how to communicate raising that rate to current clients, managing finances. So just really basic tips and tools for tracking income and expenses, creating a budget and saving for taxes, building a safety net. This one is actually really poignant to some people here who are recently transitioning into the freelance journey. Just strategies for saving for unexpected expenses and protecting yourself as a freelancer. Maybe some legal and tax considerations, scaling your business. Maybe we won't really have time for that one. And then budgeting for the future. So techniques for forecasting income and expenses to plan for the future growth of your business. And I think that the beautiful part of this outline is that there are some things even in the outline, despite me creating it, that I don't even know. So I'm going to be learning along with you guys. So definitely this is something like of learning experience for me. And I've definitely got some knowledge to give out too. We've got perspectives from Eric and John Saxton, and hopefully Marseille shows up. And I know Corey's in here from Flowman. So if any of you guys want to talk about money too, like I would love for you to join in. I've also asked a couple people in the Flow Party Slack how much money they've made or how much they've charged for a certain project. A couple of them are anonymous and the rest are public. And I'm just going to be talking about the prices, the prices on those projects, maybe how long they took or what the scope was, and a little bit about the projects that I have been working on as well and how much I charge for those. I feel like I just need a little bit of water. That was a lot.
Yeah, so let's wait for hydration and we'll start.
Yeah. So on the first one, setting and negotiating rates, I basically wrote how to determine what to charge for your services and how to effectively communicate and negotiate with clients. So setting and negotiating rates with clients. What do you think about that, Melissa? I just want to like get a conversation started.
Yeah. I think that when negotiating with your clients, you have to have a clear understanding what their goal is and what they're requiring from you for the project. Once you have that baseline of what they need, it'll give you the ammunition to go to your client with confidence to tell them, this is how much I charge, this is what you're asking for, and I can maybe give a floor to ceiling price based on how the project will evolve with time. Because I think doing it that way gives you a little bit of leeway to keep that, or not leeway, but give you a little bit of space in case the client wants to add or remove pages, for example, or like features on the project. Many times we see that it happens to us a lot. A client will come with a 4-page project, and it'll end up being a 6-page project because they didn't account for CMS, for example. So coming into the negotiation with a floor to ceiling price will leave room for those 2 extra pages that you will have to add in the future. And that $1,500 more, it's $2,000 more, because you already told them it could be from, I don't know, $7,000 to $8,000. So I think that's a good.
Somebody in the chat asked, do you give that floor ceiling verbally on the first call? Which we're just going to consider that the first call, not even the discovery call. Or do you put it in writing somewhere?
So when I have a call with a client initially, I tell them I will send you a proposal that will have a floor to ceiling price. And then on the proposal, I will add it in writing at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I think that on first calls, sometimes actually it's been happening a lot more lately. The client will immediately ask how much you think something like this would cost, and we kind of do a quick rundown of how many pages there are and like maybe even the complexity involved. Do they want animations? Is there CMS? Are there integrations? And like you, I give sort of a floor ceiling, but maybe in a different way rather than just saying here's kind of my range, saying, well, what is your budget? And if their budget is sort of within my range, I'll give them two options for a package that's maybe like, hey, we can, it's sort of like if you think about that triangle of like cheap, fast, and good, and you got to choose two. Um,
Yeah.
it's like, which package do you want? Do you want the one where maybe it costs a little more and you get like this really nice animation on the homepage, you get some scroll interactions, and we make these things a CMS for you? Or do you want the cheaper version where we kind of add more pages, but you don't really get any of the fancy stuff? It might make you look a little cheaper than usual. Either way, though, the prices that I give, I like that you use the word ammunition. I don't really like that word because then it feels like me against them. That being said, it is a money game, and like both parties are playing that. They're both dancing that dance at the same time. So I think it's like, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Um, does anybody
Usually,
else want to? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say if anybody else wants to like comment in, on the left hand side of Butter, there's a little Q button. You can say like I have a comment or I have a question, I have an idea. That way, like nobody's interrupting anybody else.
yep. It happens to us. Wait, sorry. Where there are situations where the client says, shoot, that's over my budget. So we will re-examine the UX and see how we can solve so it fits their budget. So I hope this is not seen by many clients, but everybody's a business and we have to think like business owners. We can't give away our work. So
Yeah.
one of our skills is UX as web developers that we are, and designers. So when a client says, damn, I am going over budget by 2 grand, let's say. So you can go back into your sitemap and see how you can make that sitemap work so you don't have to make that extra page or that
Yeah.
couple extra pages and consolidate in one page. And then that way you keep yourself in the same rate and the client pays the same amount while they still have the same information on their site.
Yeah, and Marseille was telling me when we were talking the other day that Friends has they haven't completely finalized it, at least not at the time of our talking, but um, they have a menu now, an internal menu that I think they're going to start giving out to clients that basically has things. I mean, it's almost like dining at a restaurant, right? Where you've got like, oh, do you want a landing page? I'll take that as the appetizer. And do you want like the animation? That's like a little side dish. And so I think that's like a really interesting approach at also knocking that price down a little bit, that the clients then feel like they maybe have more control over. That's not just you sort of going back in secret and being like, all right, well, here's how much money we can save you if we remove this and this. Instead, it's the client coming back and going, actually, I don't want this, or actually, I don't want this. And then you can explain why that is missing or what you feel like you should have.
Mm-hmm.
Vlad said Ivan wrote in his quotes in Slack. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna take a look.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Emmett asks, how do you handle it if the client won't give a budget or no a budget number or range? Honestly,
Mm,
like just a few of our clients give us their budget right away. And usually when they do, we are within that budget, or we will at least say, okay, that's their budget. Let's make it happen and we'll see how we can work it. Like I said, consolidating pages or maybe not going crazy on animation and things like that. But usually I don't get the budget right away. How about you?
I feel like more recently I have started doing just like a quick gut check on that. But I agree with you that they don't always give it out right away, and sometimes I actually see that as a bit of a red flag where they're clearly not ready as a client to have a designer come in and work on their stuff because they don't even know how much money they want to spend on a particular project. So instead I like to sort of turn it on his head and say like, well, here's how much I'll just, out with it. Because I know that they're also talking to other agencies and freelancers. And that as a client, like if you put yourself in the client's boots, it's got to be really annoying to have to talk to multiple freelancers who's like, what's your budget? And then to you, uh, you feel like they're taking your budget and going, well, it's the ceiling on that, which is why I like to go back to your ceiling, floor comment. Because like you're the client, you're like, well, how much would you charge for this? So that it's that dance again. But going back to your question, yeah, I think that I more recently have just started saying the budget if I feel like they're kind of skirting around it, because then it's like just get it out of the way and make the call a little quicker. Because I feel like there's only really so much you can do to sell them on it. If your price is way above their budget, then there's really nothing you can do about that. You can cut some costs, but ultimately there's only so much you can cut before it's like, well, I can't make a living off of that where I live currently.
Yep.
Just reading some of the comments.
And then what I do get is the client asking, what's your rate? So that actually takes us to Corey's question, how can you get up to a place where you can quickly quote like that? So I've tried at Eureka many ways to price. At the beginning, which I actually shared this Excel table and it's on Circle on the freelance market masterclass. The link is there for whoever's interested. But I used to quote using a table that had formulas and it would take overhead, labor, like everything into account. Then I changed to hourly. And then I was like, okay, we spend about 10 hours per page. And then I would multiply that by the number of pages. But then I found that charging per page for us worked best. So we have ranges. So let's say we have very simple pages that have little animation, like very simple for around
Yeah.
1500. Then we have ones that are a little bit better. Those are more, striking pages. Those ones range for around two grand. And then we go into the more storytelling sites or landing pages that have more animation and maybe they include more elaborate graphics, and then maybe those go for four. And then we go into the super crazy animations that have external libraries and it's just like a whole experience. And that could range from 6 to 10 grand one page.
And that's
So
and that's per page. So you're sort of creating a tier list where you're saying like tier one is like just a, I don't even know what you said for the first one's like $1,000 or
like
something.
1500.
Sure, just 1,500 static, no animations, no integrations, just done. And then you've got your middle tier, and then you've got your upper tier, so that at least people can choose from what they want.
Yeah, and we found that
Yeah.
clients really love that because you will give them the range, and next to each price you can link the page that reflects that price. So it's like a menu, so they can choose. It's very easy for them to decide, oh, okay, yeah, I want to go crazy. No, I want to keep it simple, or maybe I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
it in between. So can you give me a price for that? And that's when you actually have to like put a little bit more your head down and put numbers down.
Yeah. That's okay. That's really interesting. Um, John Saxton, this is going back a little bit. John Saxton asked, if they refuse to give a budget, I go ceiling floor. Well, our service. Oh, is this a question? I haven't finished reading it. Well, our service for this range can range between X and Y, depending on a few factors like complexity. How does that align with what you've planned? Yeah, I really like the way that's worded. It's a good point. Corey asked, is that for design and dev, or is that just for one or the other?
The which one? The little
The
prices?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's design and dev.
design and dev. That's great. Nice. Um, yeah, so I wanted to like retort your reply to your tier list thing. I think that that's something that I do more, I guess, subconsciously with like larger companies because I know that they can afford it and I know that they'll have more eyes on their website, more users, more potential problems, maybe even more locations, that people are using the app. And so I know that I can charge more for those because more things are likely to break or people are going to be in different situations. Whereas with smaller sites, there are obviously less people, they have a smaller audience. So I can charge a little less. But that being said, um, I feel like I tend to stick to one price. And I think the only reason is that I feel like I want to just like do my best possible work, regardless of how big or small the client is. And by charging that price, it means that I can take my time and really sit and think about just that client almost exclusively. And it really lets me dive deep on what they like and what they want and be significantly more personal with it rather than choosing from more of a tier or a menu type of pricing. So um, I think it's really interesting how you, me, and even Marseille completely separate things. But then again, Eureka is also an agency, and I'm just me, so a
Mm-hmm.
little different.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna go
We
back.
have just a question from Katrina that she tagged us here. She says, "How do you handle getting subsequent payments on time? You have a three payment structure. You got your deposit up front, but do you stop working if the second payment isn't on time? And then third payment is due before project handoff."
Um,
Yes, I feel like if you have a schedule and you're not getting paid on time, you don't continue the work until they pay.
yeah, I actually ran into this recently. I'm not gonna name and shame the client because they ultimately paid up. Some of you might know who it is, but I had this happen recently where they paid the deposit up front, and it was like, great, let's get to work. Immediately started working, and then we hit phase two pretty quickly on. It turned out to be faster than normal, and they were like, oh yeah, we're working on getting you the payment. We're working on it. We're working on it until it was like, okay, you're actually past due now. And I said, I'm going to be stopping work until that is given to you. And I know I always use the car mechanic example, but I mean, if you think about it like that and you take your car to a mechanic and you don't pay up, then like your car's not getting fixed. It's that simple. It has nothing to do with personal feelings or how you feel about that particular repair. It's like, listen, do you want it done or not? And you got to pay up. That's it. It's just a transaction. It's purely business. So if
Mhm.
you get to the second phase and they have not paid that yet, then that's it. You pause. I know that Diego had this happen to him recently as well, where he got to the very end, and the client did not pay at all. So so Diego
That happened to me.
uh, removed every page on their site and wrote, "Well, when you pay me, then you can have it back." And they paid him real quick. So
Wow.
I don't really recommend that one too much. That can get you in trouble. Um, yeah. Just read through
Yeah.
some of the
Okay,
comments here.
cool. So let's see what else. How about, okay, so let's go back. So, mm, okay, so we got Corey's, then we got
Yeah.
Katrina. John, if they refuse to give a budget, I go ceiling to floor. Well, service for can range between X and Y depending on a few factors like complexity. How does that align with what you planned? Okay, we covered that, right?
Yeah, we did. I wanna just start sprinkling in some prices as well from people that have given me their info. Starting with Ivan because he just made his boom public on Slack. Just throughout this whole thing, I'm just gonna start sprinkling prices in. Ivan said 3,800 was his lowest. Nonprofit, small business, friends and family. He stays away from this as much as possible. I also recommend staying away from working for friends and family.
100%.
Yeah. And then I guess he's got sort of an upper range. So 6,500 to 15,000, 6,000 or 6,500 for development only with SEO and audit, 8,500 for design, development, SEO, micro interactions, and then anywhere from 10,000 to 15,000 for design, dev, SEO, retainer for 3 months, and custom interactions integrations. That is really generous, Ivan. Retainer for 3 months too. It's kind of sweet that you package that in.
Mm-hmm. Retainers are the best.
Yeah,
How do
retainers
you get?
are great.
I feel like a retainer comes after you've done really good work for your client and the relationship has been smooth. Clear communication, good quality work, on time. I think those are the main things for a client to come to you to say, hey, I really need somebody to maintain my site. Would you be open to that? And then that's when you roll out your retainer service. And we can talk about that on another time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, the second point of topic is pricing strategies. So understanding different pricing models available to freelancers and how to choose the best one for your business. And the two examples I want to go with for me are subscription-based pricing, which I think is really new. A lot of freelancers are doing that one, where you can subscribe on a month-to-month basis and get access to a designer, developer, either for a set number of hours, which essentially is a retainer in a way, or the new ever popular, get rich quick Brett from Design Joy, unlimited requests, unlimited everything. And then you've got your really standard hourly freelance rate or project rate. And then I know Eureka is doing sort of I guess, what are you guys doing? What is your pricing strategy exactly? I know we talked a little bit about it, but like when you talk to a client, do you quote them and then you just say, here's how much, and then you give them options, or what is your?
It depends on what the client wants, but usually we tell them this is a rate per page. Simple.
Yeah. Also, Marseille is here now.
Marcel, coming up.
Yeah,
Hello,
come on
hello.
up, buddy.
Oh, how do I do that?
I'm gonna is it highlight or add facilitator? I don't remember.
Oh my goodness.
I
Something's
think,
happening with my
yeah,
screen.
he's set up now.
Yeah. So Marseille, we're talking about right now about different pricing strategies. And last time we talked, I know that you said you were working on a menu for friends, and I would love for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, we used to try to do kind of like a full blown out per project style. So it's like if you got 10 pages or 20 pages. But in the end, what ended up making it easier for clients was to understand, for us to tell them, look, this is what you're getting, and this is how it's broken down. It's not about giving them necessarily, in our case, more options, so they can say it's like, oh, and I want 5 pages with animation and 2 pages without it. It's like, no, like we have kind of like a package up to this amount of pages with these styles of animation, with this style of information, with this style of CMS and integrations and so on. And each one of those packages increases or decreases the amount of flexibility that we give them.
Yeah. Somebody else in chat, just again, sprinkling prices here. I won't say their name because they actually didn't reply to my DM, but they said they are charging $50 an hour for one Webflow dev only client. They'll be shifting to a monthly retainer very soon. It's for an agency working with a large corporate client. They're going to be charging more for new clients that they do hourly for, but this is their first Webflow client. Currently about to start a new project with another agency for $3,500, which is $4,300 USD, with 7 unique pages and design. So it's just another example. I'm not even listing the amount of experience for these people. Marseille is sporting that hot pink God is the designer hat. Yeah. Somebody else mentioned Cash Your Flow in chat. That one's really great if you plan to go with the sort of like hourly method, and you know how much you want to charge, and you know how many pages there are going to be That is something that you could literally pull out during a client call secretly on your screen and start to put in the math there to figure out like how much you want to charge.
And
Yeah.
it's so accurate. Like remember how I told you that I used to do it with a table that would calculate like overhead and everything? Because
Yeah.
the thing about agency, and Marcia, you know this, the overhead is so crazy compared to freelance. Like sometimes I feel like shit, I really should be a freelancer because there's so many costs. But then the stress of being a freelancer and having 6 projects at the same time, for me, it's not worth it. Like I prefer paying more money and having peace of mind than having the stress of having to deliver 6 projects in a month. Because I don't know how to say no. But anyway, that's another subject. But
Yeah.
I mean,
but
I
I
think the hourly pricing that you're bringing up is actually a fantastic example because I am a big proponent of using it as a punishment for a client. As
Say
in,
more.
we give them a plan that basically works with per project, right? And we have, as I was saying before, right, the limits is like this is the amount of pages and functionality and so on. On top of that, our normal recommendation, and you guys should look into this as a closed scope, and then we look into doing change orders, right? Which are, micro projects, something very little that allows us to say, you want a new page, you want an update on this design.
It's just
Let's
a
go
little
through
scope change.
exactly. Let's go through the whole little process. Like normally you don't need inspiration or mood boarding or all of that, but you still need to design it, you still need to show it, and they need to say yes to that and build it. So with the change orders, we again go with a project style pricing and following what Melissa was saying, right? We know our minimum level engagement or our monthly cost and monthly overhead, and we can price that. And normally client doesn't just come with only one, they want either more page or a different animation and here and there. So there are a bunch of little things that we can package together into that change order. And that allows us to work better with the overhead. Now, we have a lot of clients that is like, yeah, no, this is more like an on demand. I need just like a tweak here and something there. Can you give me an hourly rate? And yes, my hourly rate is stupid because that's what you have an agency is like your hourly rate is a weird ass blended rate of your time, your creative director, your designer, your web developer, your copywriter, whatever the change may need, you need to prepare beforehand and tell the client, hey, this is going to be like $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour. It's like,
yeah.
If you wanted something better, right? It's like you can tell me like this is the scope and we'll do it by scope. It's going to be more control and cheaper.
And why is why is your hourly higher than maybe just like a standard flat rate project? Like say you've quoted a project and you're like, it's this much. And they're like, well, I want to do this thing and I don't really want to work within your scope change. I just want to kind of keep going. Why charge more hourly? What benefit does that have for you? What benefit does it have for the client? And I guess what are the downsides?
Well, for the client, I think that it has zero benefit, but they get the idea, the illusion of control that they can control the scope and require like a designer for 3 hours on demand and a developer for 1 hour and a copywriter for half an hour and 15 minutes of a PM. And we all know that that's, even if the numbers make sense, context switching and priorities with other projects and the fact that on demand and blah blah is something that we cannot do. So when we work with a change request or we work on a change order on a project, we already plan the allocations of the team, and so that's where I can lower the pricing because I lower the risk that my team takes and it increases my ability to forecast.
Yeah. Emmett and Bree both had comments back to back that I think factor into one another. Emmett said, if someone forces me to give an hourly rate, I always preface with, you're paying for my experience too, not just my time. And Bree wrote, I can't do hourly because how do I charge for the time I spend thinking about design in the shower / in my dreams, which is just like a really excellent, counterpoint against hourly, where with the flat rate projects, you're basically saying, I will do it in X amount of time, or rather, I will get it done. Doesn't really matter how much time, as long as it fits within your timeline. But what it means is you basically get to spend that spare time thinking about the project on a walk, in the shower, in bed, when you're not even really like wanting to think about the project. It means that I'm spending that time doing that. Whereas with hourly, I'm spending your hourly money also doing that, but you're getting charged for me just thinking, which seems like a really silly thing for a client to pay for. If you're the client, you're like, well, why would I pay for them to do nothing? But that is, very much a part of the design process, is just taking time away from your computer altogether to consider the problems and solve them.
Yep. Actually, I used to put that into the price of the project. Like if I would
Thinking time?
estimate, thinking time, research time, like inspiration
Yeah.
time.
What did you call it?
Research. It's research. You're in your
Yeah.
head thinking, how does that work? Let me go to Pinterest and see what I see there, and that's time.
Yeah. Take the amount of time that my shower takes, so it's like 10 minutes, and multiply by the amount of days, it's 5 days, and that's multiply that by hourly, and that's how much
Yeah.
that's how much my research time costs. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so should we jump into the next topic?
Yeah, and before we jump into the next topic, I'm just going to drop one more piece of pricing. This one is completely anonymous. You know who you are when I mention this, but this comes from a place starting brand new all the way to right now. So they started out with a 3D project, $600, very small. Then agency work, simple dev and design work, $100 to $300, very small. So I think that you could do better. Agency work, web design for full site plus dashboard, $1,000. So we're getting up there. They're feeling more and more confident, quicker in their skills. And remember, every single time you do a new project, you're getting better and better. You can charge more and more because you're doing it faster, which gives you more time to do quality work. Branding, web design, freelance, up to 2,000. Same thing after, up to 8,000. So, times 4. And then this newest potential client, which is just web design and dev, not even branding, $7,000. So just like a really great level up in a very short time from this person. I won't say who they are, but I will say that I am seeing them grow consistently. And, if they're growing within this amount of time, you can too, and you should be charging more. Take it away, Melissa.
Now, one little thing there, disclaimer. Like, don't feel bad because this is your starting point. I started at $45 an hour. I was charging hourly. I little by little, with a lot of patience since 2018, every month or every couple months, I would reevaluate. What have I learned? Can I charge a little bit more? Maybe I can get away with $10 more. And little by little, you start going up. So don't feel bad. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yep. And on that as well, that's why we're here today, right now, is we're not here to shame you for the amount of money that you're making, whether it's large or small. Everybody starts somewhere new. We're talking about it publicly because we want you to know that either you're not charging enough, or maybe you feel like you're charging too much and you want that to be reaffirmed. Could be anything, really. It's just a matter of what works for you.
Yeah, and especially when you're starting, you got to remember that you're starting. It's like, give yourself some space. I would love to be as good in animations, me, Marcelo, as good as Joseph Berry, right? But it's like, I know I'm not. It's like I'm gonna get there, and when I get there, I'm sure I'm gonna try to charge some more. When I started, the other day, I remember we did the tweet there when everybody was kind of like trying to go down memory lane and remembering that. Everybody had horrible initial projects, and we were trying to find ourselves out, find our style, find our flow, find the projects, find the people. So it's okay. Like, give yourself some time, give yourself some leeway. You're good. Take steps.
Exactly.
We have questions or comments from Jay and John. Maybe if they want to come forward.
John Saxon or someone else?
Yeah, I don't know how to come. I don't know how to come forward, but
Oh, Jay. Okay.
yeah.
Hell yeah. What's up, Jay?
What's up, man? All I'm saying is I've been doing this for a while now. Even left and came back, and when I started, I was in the same thing. Like, how do I price this stuff? What do I do? Marcelo just brought up a good thing, right? The first thing I did, and I think, and this is only for freelance, not for agency. This is just a one-man shot. Is know your own value, right? Like, figure out what you're worth. Like, don't fuck around. You can look out there and figure out where you are, what your time is worth, and stuff like that. And then you can start to bring that to your clients, right? Like, I started per page, and then I did hourly, and all the same questions came up to me going through it. And through the trials and tribulations, like I said, last thing, one of my biggest sites, I ended up doing for about 25K, and I still do work for them now. Like, I hold retainers. And the good thing about retainers is they're good and bad, right? Like, the retainers is good, but you have to educate your clients, because they'll expect all of this shit.
And you have to like them too.
Yeah. And so I have two different prices, and it's an hourly rate. Like, it's not a penalty, but it's like, if you want this, like, I have a small project, and the small project is actually the higher of the prices, so that I can break away from whatever I'm doing, get this done, and it's worth it to me, right? Or the long project retainer, it's a little bit smaller. It's going to be a constant work type of thing. So doing all this, the biggest thing that I think that helped me, and everybody tells you, like, you have to do this, this, and this. Number one, it's all up to you. Number two, I've noticed the best thing is doing discovery. Get on a discovery call, and that's free, right? But tell them that this is normally a price. Like, this is a valuable thing, like the discovery time, and then discuss no pricing, and take every page, get out of them as much information as you can, and then you take the due diligence of going over every page, because your creativity level. Like, for instance, there was a page to where I had to do movie screens, right? And I went over that page, and I could have given them a price of $2,000 for a page, but I came up with an idea that I brought to them, and I said, for this, for a simple page, we can do it at this price. But for this idea that I have, which I did, was building scenes out in 3D. It was movie screen sizes, and you could, bump it up, right? And I did a slider through 3D and actually put characters in it so that you could see the side. Like, if a mom wanted it was for a company that did parties at home. If a mom was standing next to him, it was a 1-to-1 ratio, so the screen got bigger and you would be able to see it. But through a slider, it would like turn, and the 3D would go from one scene to another to a video. You know what I mean? Well, I got $8,000 for that tool that I made. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's going to take me this long, but it's going to blow your fucking competition away. You know what I mean? And now the next cool thing is I'm doing two things, and I've already finished that site, but I'm doing two things that came from this, and it's probably going to make me 50 more grand, is because I'm going to convert that same idea with 3D, the 1-to-1 ratio, into AR, so the augmented reality, so the mom can go in the backyard and say, I want to have my kid's party here, bring up the screen through the AR, and have the 3D model being on the actual, back lawn, and saying, oh shit, that one's too big. You know what I mean? Which is also going to help their business, because the guys that come and install it aren't going to be like, well, where do you want this? You know what I mean? The client has actually already done something. And then I'm actually into Unreal Engine and 3D and building video games. So I'm making small type video games through Unreal that the kids that are going to have the party on the Saturday night are going to play on the Friday night. And they're going to play it, through the internet or through, whatever. But it's also helping, again, the company out, because then their coaches don't really have to coach, because the kids have already played the video game and stuff like that. So I'm just getting at, do you see how, like, one stupid page can make you so much money? I know it might seem like a lot of work, but in my case, I took every page and went on a creativity level. I'm like, okay, I could do this for this page. And then I have an Excel sheet, and, what I mean? So I have options, and I even had back in the day, a FinSuite pricing. I said, look, these are these guys, here's me, here's them, here's this. And I named them. I named them like the Kraken, which was the biggest one, like different cool names. So I gave them a price, because if you're consistent and you can tell your clients knowledge and they trust you, the fucking money doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's the trust, right? So, I mean, I know that I just went all over the place, but but like it helps to like really focus, so it can help you understand it. And if you take the time to go through every single page, and I mean the 404 pages and everything, and get it all in there, then it's worth it to you, you know? So, I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And it's going to work.
And you actually touched on what we want to talk about next, which is determining your worth. So how do you set rates based on your experience level, skills, and market demand? Now that Diego's here,
with segues,
I do want to ask, Diego, when you were first starting out freelance, how did you determine how much you were worth, and when did you decide to start bumping up your rates?
Well, I had no idea how much it worth. So let me tell about my experience when I started doing Webflow development, because it was a point in my career when I like just started from scratch. I had some background before. I was like a full stack developer doing WordPress stuff. That path is gone. Then I started from zero when I decided to go to Webflow development. So I had no idea how much I could charge for projects in Webflow, and so the way I just did was testing things out, because like I had no idea. I had no reference for other people. Like I had no idea about pricing for other people. So I just tested things out. Like my first project on Webflow was adapting one of my free clonables into a tablet for a client. And I charged 600 pounds. Was my first paid project on Webflow. Then the next few ones was like 1,500, something like that for
you
one
doubled
landing
it.
page. Yeah, so I was just testing. Like I said, let's raise a little bit and see if I can get some acceptation there. And they said yes, maybe too fast. And I said, okay, let's try to raise up a little bit more. Sometimes it was a no, sometimes it was a yes. So I was just adjusting things out because I had no reference. Like I know that there's some formulas out there that say, okay, you can calculate your hourly price and then you multiply that by X, Y, Z. I think that's too complicated, at least for me to understand. So I just figure like a range of price.
Yeah.
So, and then I was raising that range as I go. The turning point for me was the Creative Lab project. That project, I did branding, I did web design, and I did web development. I did the whole package. I was charging lower before that, like two and a half for a website with design and development. That one, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do everything I can, but I will still charge less because I want to make this project a good project for my portfolio. So I charged $3,000 for that one, for the whole package, design, branding, development. Then after that project, I started getting a lot more leads compared to what I had before. And that was the opportunity for me to start raising my prices and raise my range of prices for design and development work. Then at some point, I was charging like at least $5,000 for a design and development project. Now it's between $7,000 and $10,000 for a design and development project. But I was just raising my prices based on the acceptance of the clients and based on how many leads I was getting compared to before. So if I get a lot of leads, then I get to choose, like, so I can get more picky with the projects I choose to work with. That means that I can test higher prices and see what sticks. Like if it works, a higher price range or not. If not, if I get too many no's, then I try to decrease my price a little bit. So for me, it's all about experimentation and about like how much work you have right now, how many leads you have. Like, are you booked for the whole month, for 2 months, 3 months, etc. So it depends. There's a lot of variables there that on this calculation that depends. Even if you don't calculate with the specific formula with hourly rates, etc. So I just usually go with a range of price and then try to figure out where inside within this range, based on complexity, based on like amount of work, how many pages, like how much content, in all those things. But it's all about experimentation, in my opinion. So you figure out your worth based on that. Like, you charge X, then you think, can I charge more? Then you test. If you get a lot of no's, then, well, maybe it's not the right time for me to start charging more. Maybe my price is not at that point. If you get a lot of yes, and you start being booked by like a month or two, that means that your worth is increasing. So yes, you can test higher prices, and you know that you're worth more. So it's all about experimentation.
Yeah. You touched on two things that I want to talk about. One is talking about I don't know why I have like a major brain fire right now. I literally had them lined up in my head. Oh yeah, the portfolio part. Yeah, that's one factor I think that people should also consider too, is that sometimes I think it's okay to move your price down a little bit, or to take a project on because you know that it's going to be like a real portfolio piece for you.
Exactly.
And that's,
so price.
if you think about it like that portfolio piece is them paying you, then it feels a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. So like the value you get from a project is not always price. Sometimes, yes, it's a interesting piece for your portfolio. Sometimes even connections. For example, I'm working right now on a project for a new client, which is this guy is a billionaire. This guy has a huge amount of money, has a huge influence, and I'm doing the design and development for this guy. I could charge like, I don't know, $20K for this project easily, but I decided to charge extremely low. Because what? Because for me, the payment for this project will be networking, like having access to his network of friends that are also rich people. So it's a contact that I want to have a good relationship, because there's a lot of opportunities for me to charge more, not for him, for other people that connected to him. So I'm getting a good network out of this project. So it's not always about the price. You don't have to work for free, but you can, like Devin said, you can lower your prices if you think that there's a good advantage for you. And I want to mention Dennis Petty course, the standout freelancer, specifically the chapter 5 about pricing. The guy is genius, and I was watching this week, and that single chapter, if I was starting today trying to figure out how to price things, that would be a game changer for me. I highly recommend that course. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Just
great.
that,
go buy it.
Just that chapter is enough for the worth or for the price of the course, because he talks about a lot of things specifically about this topic. He talks a lot about like being flexible with your price. He even mentions that sometimes he didn't charge anything, but he asked the client to buy a few gears for him, because it was worth more for him, because he wasn't paying taxes, because the client has more ease access to that specific gear. So yeah, price should not be like a strict rule. You should be flexible with price, like having a range, maybe lowering prices to get something better out of that, maybe like having a good relationship with that person to have more opportunities. So yeah, just be flexible.
I remember the thing that I wanted to mention earlier. It was a comment from Ilya yesterday on Slack, where somebody asked, how do I know if my prices are too high, or how do I know if my prices are too low? And Ilya just really summarized it simply. If every client is saying yes to your pricing estimate, then it's probably too low. So start bumping it up and seeing what happens. Clients shouldn't say yes to everything unless you're really skilled and they know exactly what they're getting with that price.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to take a different approach, Diego, and talk about how I came to my first number. So when I was starting out, I quit my job in December 2021. I forget what year it is already, and did full-time freelance in 2022. And so for me to figure out what I wanted to charge on pricing was a little awkward, because I felt like my skills were mostly in product design and a little in the web design aspect. And I'm really proficient and quick in Figma, but when it came to Webflow, I was still sort of like learning it and getting faster and solving problems. And so I was like, okay, you know what? To figure out how much I want to make, I took the salary that I was making at my previous job, and I tried to figure out what I was making per hour there. And then I lowered it a little bit, because what I didn't want was for the client to feel like they were paying for me to learn the tools, which now I feel a little differently about, because I think that that's just a great way to get faster and better at those things. But I determined my hourly, and then from there created a day rate to work through. It's been frozen the whole time, huh? Sorry, Emma.
That's weird.
Melissa, Marseille, how did you guys figure out pricing when you first started with the agency stuff?
For agency, I kept the same price that I had as a freelancer independently, and then just added the costs and a little bit a margin of profit. I don't know. How about you, Marce?
Yep, exactly like that. I mean, the first part is always going with your own price and trying to find someone that will do quality work similar to what you were doing, and adding that little extra that it's, if you don't need to do anything because everything went smoothly and perfectly, then great. And if not, it should cover that hour or so that you will need to actually make sure that the deliverable is up to your standards.
Yeah. And for me also, I had clients that became like my agency clients that were my freelancer clients. So to those clients, I actually left the price the same. So at that time, I remember I was charging $80 an hour when I first started Eureka. And I left it like that for them. And after they came back for like more work, maybe like after a year or a few months, I was like, hey, my prices are now this. And they were just like, okay, cool. Let's just still work together. Like, I guess people understand, Also, like hashtag inflation.
Yeah, if you're not, I don't remember the exact number. I think it's like, if you're not getting a 7% like increase in salary or whatever, you're technically losing money due to inflation, unfortunately. So go do your math, people, and determine how much money you're actually losing per year by sticking with the same budget. Melissa, that actually, you bring us into our next topic, which is increasing your rates. So how and when to increase your rate, and how to communicate rate increasing to current clients. But before we get into that, I did get another DM from somebody who asked to remain anonymous. They said $11,000 for a new nonprofit, new Webflow website design, plus dev, 5 e-com products, creating a membership community with, I actually don't know what that is, Softr, SOFTR. So it can be downloaded as a separate app, but still accessible via the web through a link on their Webflow site. First time, starting to think I underpriced. So just throwing that out there, because I want people to just start hearing prices and determining, maybe I'm not charging
I
enough.
love this. This is like a radio show where people like call and like drop their prices.
Yeah. Call in and drop your price.
Yeah. So what did I miss before I joined? Everyone share your prices for the projects already?
So I'm sprinkling prices throughout the whole show from people who have submitted things. I am happy to submit a few. I actually have my Stripe page open right now. Okay, so I launched the other day a website with Ben Fritz called Healthy Together. It's healthytogether.co. It's really cool. Got featured on Godly. What? And
wait.
Oh, where's the?
Yeah, we need this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. It took a long time. Definitely, I under budgeted. So I'm going to tell you how much that one cost. It was just dev. Ben Fritz did the design. He was really great to work with. We went back and forth, constantly reiterating over different things and trying to get specific things to work because there were limitations. But I'm looking, and for the entire website, I'm just going to do some math really quick. I did. So I'm trying to find the exact numbers here. There were two different essentially contracts. One of the deposits was $2205, so $2,205, and the other one was $3,500. So 3,500 times 2 was the homepage, so $7,000 for just the homepage, and then for the inner pages, which are mostly templates, it was $4,410. So all in all, it was $11,410. So that's how much I charged for healthytogether.co. That was just dev.
That's good.
What
Yeah,
else?
it's great. It's great. It went a little longer than I anticipated, but I think that the working relationship and the fact that this is going to be a portfolio piece for me really means that I'm going to end up with a retainer from that client, which is a great way to continue making money with them if you enjoy working with them, and also, it's going to be great for me to show off to new potential clients and get even more money from those things. Yeah, the people section. Everybody's like, I love the people section. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Ilya
Yeah,
asked,
it
how
is.
many weeks did the dev process take? There was a lot of, I don't really want to get into like the process part, Ilya. So like you could DM me afterwards, but I'll just say it was like 3 weeks or something like that. There was a lot of back and forth with technical complications on what he wanted to do and what was possible.
I love that.
Also, I don't want to like commit to it 100%, but because of that project, Federico's going to release a new clonable for split text animations, which is really nice. And I'm using it now actually on the Healthy Together site. It's really great.
Yeah, could use something like that right now.
Okay, back to it. The next topic at hand was, how do you raise your rates? How do you increase them? Like, what if your client's like, I don't want to pay that. I don't want to do that. Marseille is like ready to go. He's like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I have the most useful version.
yeah, hit it.
Just raise it.
Just
Say a
Yeah.
higher number. I mean, the reality ends up being that. I mean, you have a lot of frameworks that you need to put in place before, and we touched through the call about, where are you in a situation? Are you fully booked for a couple months, or are the projects covering your current situation? Do you have a healthy pipeline of potential new work? So in the end, the actual moment or the actual raising the price is rather easy.
And
right?
it's not, and it doesn't have to be a ceremonious thing, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, attention, all of my clients, here is a formal email. I am raising my prices. No, how about this? The next time someone says, how much do you think this will cost? Take your raised rate and multiply it by how long you think it'll take, or how many pages, whatever your pricing method is, and just do it. Like, don't wait. Don't present it and go, is that okay?
Yeah.
The car
Definitely-
mechanic doesn't
definitely
ask you if that's an
security is the
okay
first
price
part.
to fix your car. So you shouldn't either. Again, you're providing a service. This isn't, a negotiable. This isn't, you're not haggling at the market.
Absolutely. And when you say that, you need to believe it yourself, right? And that's why
Yeah.
all the actual prep work is not the raising of the price, is making sure that you're comfortable making that decision. And I wanted to touch something really quick on, like, following a point that Jay was saying before, and Diego, regarding like raising your price range, right? And it's okay to move around, right? It's like, it's not
Yeah.
always an upward trend. Sometimes you get less deals. The deals are taking longer to close. You had unexpected expenses, and you need to dial it down a little bit, and that's okay. That's part of life. If I would have been able to keep on raising my prices for 3 years, every project round would be $1 million. Like, no.
Yeah.
I've gone up and down, and like all of these beautiful considerations about portfolio, coolness of the client, networking, end up coming into place, but only if you can pay for the roof on top of your head and the internet connection.
Yeah.
Like, food is optional, but all of that is like,
Alcohol, though, gotta have.
alcohol is definitely important if you're lowering your rates. But
Yeah.
Melissa, what do you think?
I also think that, so for me, it was more like, when you're lying, when you're like raising your prices just to raise them, you have to have the confidence to tell your client, like, this is my price. Walk them through the statement of work, walk them through your skills. What is it that you can do for them?
Yeah.
How are you the shit? All of those things. And with that comes skill. So raising your prices is easy if you have the confidence to talk like that. But if you are not confident still to raise your prices, and maybe you're how do you say tartamudeando? Somebody in Spanish, like you're
Stumbling.
What was that, Marcel?
Stuttering or stumbling.
Yeah, stuttering. Like you're stuttering and you're not sure, then the client is going to smell that right away. So you have to be very confident of when you put your price in. Okay, what is it that I'm offering? Very clear, very straight to the point. If you feel you don't have the skill, because like I'm a very confident person, and if you tell me go build a building, I will tell you I know how to build that building, and in the process I will learn how to build that building. But if you feel like you have to gain the skill to be able to raise your prices, then that's your process. Like it's more a personal thing. What do you think, Diego?
Yeah, I have 2 comments on this. The first one is, you can talk about your price range during the call, but never give the final price on the call. So if the client asks, okay, what is the price for the project? Say, well, I have to think about this. I'll send you a proposal later. This will give you, one, enough time to think about the right price and how to explain that price. And second, this will give you enough time to prepare a good proposal, which is my second tip. Like, a killer proposal is advantage. Like, I always say that presentation is everything. Like,
and yours are great.
Yeah. Presentation of your work is everything. Like, if you want to get more leads, if you want to get more work, you need to put all the effort you can on present and showcase your work. And that also includes your portfolio, obviously. And that also includes your proposal, because your proposal, let's say, is one of the final pieces of the funnel. That we start with the lead getting in touch with you, then like asking questions, going on a call. The proposal is the final piece of the funnel to convince the client that you're worth your price and that he should go with you. So having a killer proposal is fundamental. And well, do you guys want to see my proposal?
Yeah. I think they're sweet.
Let's get to the shit.
Yeah, Maria said we need a Friday on proposals, and I completely agree. I think that we should absolutely have a Flow Party Friday about proposals.
Let me see one here. Just give me a second.
While he is looking, I am also going to mention one more person here. This person didn't care if they were anonymous or not. Mario, if you don't want me to say this and you changed your mind, let me know. He said he did a recent Webflow build, pure Webflow with Rayloom, and he charged £1,500 for 30 hours of work, £50 an hour, and finished in 20 hours. So I did a little bit of math. Oh, wish it was pounds. Euro? Oh, it was euro. Okay, I didn't see the euro mark on there.
Nice.
So 1,500 euro for 30 hours of work, which would be 50 euro an hour. But he finished in 20 hours, which essentially made it 75 an hour. So, if anything, he kind of made more money that way. So maybe that's his new rate. I don't know.
Okay, ready.
Hit it.
Okay, just give me a second.
Also, I think Melissa's having some video problems, so she's coming in and out.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so again, presentation is key, so which includes your proposal. So never send just like a blunt, plain PDF with just like line items and the price. Okay, say website X, maintenance. No, that's boring. That says nothing about you and your work. So your proposal is about convincing the client that you're worth your price. And to convince the client you're worth your price, you need to show first, like, what kind of work you do, what are the projects you did recently, what the clients that work with you say about you. 2, you need to show that you have spent time actually thinking about the proposal, which means like personalizing the proposal. So for example, this is the first screen on my proposal. It's a landing page. It's not a PDF.
Wait, hold up, Diego. You're just showing the butter screen right now.
Oh fuck. Just a second. Let me stop sharing. I thought you guys were seeing my phone. Oh, come on, butter. Now is the right window.
Okay.
Let me know.
Yeah, we can see it now. This is the correct one.
Great. Yeah. So my proposal is a landing page. Just a website, a landing page. It's inside my portfolio website. Is protected by a password. Every client has a password to access the proposal. And I always start with a specific message to the client. So I put the client name. I put like one paragraph saying, okay, let's work together because X, Y, Z, we can get a good project for you. So I try to show that it's a personalized thing. It's tailored to him. Next thing, I talk about me. Like, who is Diego? The designer, the developer. So I talk about my history, my background, what I'm doing, what I do, and my experience. So I'm showing that I have history on and I have background on what I'm doing. I'm not just like a new guy. I'm doing this for a long time. Recent clients to give credibility. So I work with all of these clients recently. You can get in touch with them. You can ask them questions. You will see my work. If you click on their logos, you will see the websites that I created for them. So it gives credibility. Next, recent projects. Again, showing the projects that I did recently. So showing a bunch of projects that I did. Again, to show credibility, for them to see my work, to see my style, to see that, yes, I'm doing good stuff. I'm doing development. I'm doing design. These are my latest projects. You can see the quality of my work right here. After that, testimonials. So what people are saying about Diego. So it's all here. All the clients that are above on the websites, on the client section, they are here. They are talking about their experiences working with me. Again, to build authority, credibility, etc. Right? After that, so let's get into the details. What I will do for you. So I detail all the steps of the project. Like we'll start with visual design. This is what I'm going to do for you on the visual design step. Then I'm going to do the style guide, design implementation, animations, direction, etc. So this is like a high level overview of what I'm going to offer for them on this project. My process. So this is how I usually work. Like create a foundation, then development, refinement, testing. So getting into detail, showing that you are a professional because you have a specific process to follow on this project. So you're not just doing things as you go, like going back and forth between multiple things. You're not like losing time because you have a specific process to deliver the project from beginning to the end. So again, you're showing that you're a professional. You're showing that you're worth your price, and that's fundamental. Then here is just like some, let's say, psychological things. So on this package, on this this proposal that I'm giving to you, you have all those little things here. So you have like a UX and visual design consultant. You have limited design requests. That depends on the project. Like they turn around for feedback stuff, weekly calls if they need, etc. Just for them to feel more safe. Okay, I'm getting all of these for the price that is right below. That's good. Then I go to the price. So the price for this project, what is included, the expiration date for the proposal. So always include an expiration date because today's price is not yesterday's price, right? Your price today might be completely different from your price like 6 months later. So if they come back to you and saying, okay, I'm ready now. So let's start it. Let's say, no.
Yep.
New price. I'm a different position right now. So it's a new price for you. I have to send you a new proposal. Okay. And then estimated project delivery. So like a range of time that I think it will take to get done. So again, a range of time and an estimate because we never know exactly how much time it will take. So
Oh, we're
how
losing
about
him a
like
little bit.
our
Yeah, you kind of like cut off a little bit.
letter is kind of weird today. But yeah, so like I said, like price, a time range as well. So it's all an estimate. You need to be aware that it might take less time, might take more time. So they should be prepared for that because process, right? Feedback loop. So things don't go really well. The clients take a lot of time to get feedback. So it's an estimate. Then an FAQ section saying like what are the things that usually the clients are asking you, like what are the payment conditions, how the money will be break down on this project, what is the upfront cost, what are the next steps to deliverables to pay, etc. Like what are the payment conditions, what happens if they want to include other stuff that are not included on the initial scope on the contract. Where can they see the progress on the project? What are the available payment methods for them, or the options, etc. And then last section, what are the next steps? So giving them an action. What is your next action after review the proposal? Scheduling a time with me. So right here, big call to action, so they know what exactly they need to do next to accept the proposal or not. And that's it. That's my proposal model. So I spend time designing this proposal to first say that I'm not a new guy. I'm doing this for a long time. Then I show authority. I'll show credibility because I have real clients. I have testimonials. I have all my products are there. They can see the quality of my work. Then showing that I'm professional by showing my process. And after all of that, convincing the client that I'm worth my price, then I show my price. So that's how I do my proposals. That's it.
I'm going to drop 2 prices in a row. One is from Maria, our very own El Coriel. Maria, if you don't want me to say this, if you changed your mind, shake your head right now. Okay. She sent a...
I want to say something. I'm so don't believe that I got that price. That it's like, and you know, I jinxed it. I didn't get paid for December.
You didn't get paid?
No, but I'll contact the guy, and it will be.
Yeah. So tell us how much it was then.
So I got this referral from a friend, and it was like, they wanted development, and I was like, should I ask for 70 an hour? And I was like, well, they're NFT, I don't care. So I went like 140 for 20 hours or something. And then the contract ended because it was for a month. So then they kept giving me work, and I was like, okay, 180, and they kept paying me. So I was like, okay. And it's super simple because if you've seen the build, it's very simple. I'm totally overpaid, but it's okay.
And then Emmett left one. He left actually at the chat, but he left me a comment. I've been doing dev only sites for between $4,000 to $6,000. Medium complexity, sales as a service, or maybe software as a service, marketing sites. So it's just another example of pricing. And then I'm just going to do my last one because I actually have to go in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to put the last one here. From, I might pronounce this wrong, Adil. 5 to 6 page website, $2,000. Includes Webflow editor training, 10 days free support, and up to 4 revisions, which is like really, really generous. 10 days free support. It's like awesome. Yeah. If it's cool, I'd love to ask a couple questions for Melissa and Marseille and Diego, just as sort of like, I don't know, you could think of it sort of like a role play. So you come to me and you tell me, you know, here are my prices, or I've upped my prices, and me as the client, I come to you and I say, that's a lot. Like, why are you increasing your prices? I can't afford that anymore. What is your response to that?
I can start.
I love Melissa's just like,
I'll volunteer. I go right into the fire. And let's
go ahead.
Yeah, like, oh, it's unfortunate to hear that. Definitely keep on providing you the level of service that we've been doing up to this point. I understand that you're happy with us. That's why we're having this conversation. Let me make it up to you and try to think together. Let's think outside of the box. The prices are going to be that, and that definitely is something that is going to happen. But I know that this may be coming out of the blue. So with the prices changing, do you need any kind of payment plan that we can work out together? Maybe for the first few months, we prorate the difference through the rest of the year. What could be working better for you?
Yeah, but why are you? I mean, we've been working together for months now. Why now? Like, what has changed? Are the designers better now? Is there like more benefits?
Inflation.
I was gonna say the first part is like we normally go with inflation, right? So it's like, yeah, the prices overall year over year tend to increase, and we have an inflation rate adjustment. But the capacity that we had at the very beginning with you, we had a year long of training or 2 years long of training, and we've been gathering better capacity at doing animations, interaction, 3D design, and each one of you guys can talk specifically about how you improved. And we feel like, yes, we can deliver higher quality of work for you.
Josh said, I want to break Devin. That's great. Diego, I have a landing page, and I've written all the copy for it, and I really want to do like a really intricate animation where like the UI comes in, and maybe everything is sort of staggered. And how much do you think that would cost?
Well, so it's a landing page. You have all the content. You have all the copy. Well, so not role playing right now. That really depends. The answer for me really depends. One, how much work I have right now. Like, do I have enough work for a month or two? If I don't have enough work for a month or two, then yes, I would say lower. My price will be a little lower, but I won't say anything right off the bat. I'll say, so, Devin, usually for me, a landing page that has like, let's say, some good interactions, but you provide all the content, it's on a range right now between 6 to 10K. And it's because of that, because the part that takes more work for me is exactly the interactions. And I'm not only just creating a website for you just because you say, oh, I want a landing page and I just want interaction. I'm not just doing that. What I'm doing for you is actually, I will dive into your goals for this project. I will read all your content. I will provide you some insights about how is what is the best way for you to tell your story and create an engaging experience for your users in a way that they feel compelled to keep scrolling, keep reading. They won't just like pass on all the things and just forget about it. It will stick to them. And with all of that comes with the complexity of figuring out the best ways to do the interactions, figure out the best way to tell the story. And you will get a lot of value out of this project, because the way things will be designed and developed will create an engaging return for a customer. So that's my range right now.
Well, I was hoping for a little lower, like 3,000. Is that something? Is that something we can still do?
Okay, role play aside, if I really want to work with this client, yes, I would think about different ways. If not, I would say, sorry, that's the price right now. That my minimum is at least 6K. But I can recommend you to other people if you're interested in having another person to do the project for you. I'm not just like saying goodbye to you. I want to help you. So yeah, I have a few friends that are good on doing design and development as well. They can help you. So I can recommend some good stuff, good people.
I'm so glad you said that last bit there. A lot of people think that the money talk ends with, oop, I can't afford you. It actually doesn't. It ends with you recommending an alternative route, either money or somebody else.
Exactly, because sometimes the connection you make with that person is more valuable than the project itself, because they might not have enough money to go with you right now, but they will keep you in mind if you're like a good person and that help you anyways, like recommending someone else. They can come back to you another time with a better project, with better budget, and then you can work together. So
Yeah.
so it's all about connections you make. When you do freelancing, networking and doing connections is the key for you to stay in the business, right?
Mhm.
So you need to make good connections.
Yeah,
Also,
maybe the price is not now, but later, sure.
Yes.
Melissa?
And
It's-
sorry, go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead.
I'm like dying to talk. I'm like,
Go ahead. And her connection's frozen.
She's been holding it up for so long with the internet problem that it's like,
Yeah.
I just need to.
Yeah.
She blew.
There you go.
something else that I wanted to say was like, damn, I forgot. Wait.
See, it happens. It's not just me.
Oh, that like also something that we've spoken about so many times, and it's like, how picky is that client? Like, if I already know that client, or I can sense that they will be emailing me every week or every 2 days, how's it going, and this, or they have a project manager, I will not go lower on my price. Like, I will.
That might even be a bump up.
Yeah, exactly. Project manager, charge full price.
Pain in the ass surcharge, John Sackton says. I fully agree. And that's something that you just get better at sensing over time when you're talking to a client, which ones are going to be really picky. And I'm going to just let you in on right now. It's usually the ones that don't really want to spend a lot of money. Those are the pickiest ones. The higher in price you go, the more busy those people are, and the less time they have to like nitpick on the little details. They've got other things to focus on. They're paying you to figure out what the problem is and how to solve it.
Yep.
Pierre asked you, Marseille, is that an extra in your menu if the client has a project manager?
Yeah, actually, well, we don't change it if they have a project manager. Actually, normally we end up liking it, but we are not in the situation like. Let me give you guys two answers. Sorry, I went off the rails. So the first one is like in the context of we are raising the prices, right? If we are raising the prices, I agree with Melissa. If you have a project manager, that means that there's a structure. That means that there's a lot more paperwork and overhead in the project. So normally, yes, there's a lot less negotiation if that's the type of client. Now, from the beginning, on the onset of the project, if I'm doing a sale, the project manager doesn't really change because they are already in the main portion of the engagement. But it does change if we are working, let's say someone hires us only for Webflow development, and they are not quite ready with designs, but they want us to start because they have the homepage and a couple of pages and they want us to start, and they have another agency working with the design, the assets, the animations, and they are going to keep on iterating in the pages that are in scope but not 100% finished. That for us is a 15% surcharge. Anything that we that is not our company, that is not our team, and not client management, it's a 15% surcharge.
Josh Lowe asked, important question. Why is Marseille so sexy? How can I get that cool t-shirt?
Coming soon, guys. Coming soon.
That's awesome. Yeah. So listen, I gotta go. I have something called therapy. It's good for you. If you haven't been into that. But you guys, keep talking, keep asking questions. I mean, this is really like the time for anybody to just ask what you might think is a dumb question, but might be something that somebody else finds helpful. So just ask away. Like, this is a really good time to do that. And if not, at any time on Slack, if you have questions about, Figma or design or Webflow or whatever, or even you want to talk about money or proposals, pricing, you can DM me. I don't want to offer up Diego, but I think he's okay with that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Feel
DM
free to send.
me. We're open to it, but that was a really good. Hopefully Melissa's connection gets fixed, but I gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Devin.
Also, I love you.
Bye.
Thank you, Devin.
Bye.
This
All
was
right.
so cool.
Yeah. So I have a question which is not directly related to pricing. It's not my question. It's a question from Han. Let me find that again. Just a minute. He asked me. So let's get the opportunity to talk about that. asking me, hey Diego, I have a question for you. What do you recommend to do as a Webflow freelancer to get more leads? I think one reason why I'm not able to raise my prices is because I don't have a lot of leads coming in. So I have that ambiguity between whether this lead will convert or not if quote higher. So yeah, Mars, Melissa, what do you guys think? Any tips?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have enough leads, you shouldn't be thinking about raising your prices. When I first started, I started charging very, very low because I didn't really have the skills. I didn't really have clients, and I wanted anything, any type of work. So obviously, the more I charged, the less clients I would get. So my first advice would be focus on getting more clients, killing it at the projects that you're getting that you're getting, even if you're not getting the money that you think you deserve, so you can have something to show. And then once you have good projects under your belt and you're getting a consistent stream of clients, that's when you're going to think of raising your prices. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of what we were saying before about it has to be contextual, right? It's like, don't raise your prices if you're gonna force yourself into that uncomfortable position of not having enough leads or not having enough to pay your rent and your food. So there goes a lot into play on making sure that you know what type of risk person you are, if you're a risk prone, risk averse, and all of those kind of things. And sometimes it's just taking a bite of the old unhappy pie and get a lot of little projects, but that helps you build your savings account, and that helps you build anything that gives you that cushion. That's, hey, maybe getting a $20,000 client, a $50,000 client is gonna take me about 6 months. If so, can I get it? Can I make sure that I have all of the everything protected for me, so I can go and confidently say, you need to pay me $50,000? Then set yourself for success. Do that. Your pipeline, your current workload, and your current desires of how much you want to work, they're all kind of like these very key elements on raising that and knowing when to.
Yeah. So yeah, and again about like getting more leads, because yes, if you're getting more leads, then you can start thinking about raising your prices, right? So, well, for me, the way that I started getting more leads is actually doing what Lisa said. Like, I was not focused on getting a lot of money first when I started from scratch my career, started as a Webflow developer. I was focused on building a portfolio, because you need to show something. And it's just not like something, just like the landing page. No, you need to show something that is good, very good, that shows your worth, that shows that people should hire you. So for me, for example, was I created like 5 or 6 websites, few clonables, small projects, showcasing my skills with motion, with directions, some of the design. Even that Creator Lab website was thinking about that, because I wanted to have something to show. So first thing you need to do is create a killer portfolio. If you have nothing to show, 0 clients, 0 projects, that's not an excuse. What you have to do at this point is create some fake projects, create some passion projects. Pick a theme you like to talk about, create like a landing page, create a website for doing website design.
Do stuff that you're passionate about. Like,
exactly.
If you're passionate about fashion, create a page for, I don't know, a magazine. Or
Yes.
about video games, create something for video games. Because when you're passionate, you create your best work.
Exactly. And then create your best work. And after that, showcase like crazy everywhere. Share all the time. Like showcase on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. All places.
I want to shout out, I don't know if Ben or Jeff is still here. Jeff left already, but oh no, Jeff is here. Jeff, here. I'm gonna favorite you here. I want to congratulate you, Jeff, because I feel this is the perfect example of someone that has taken that advice, become passionate about something, and has started sharing their work on social media, and you can see the growth happening in real time. It
Exactly.
happened to Jeff, it happened to Diego, it happened to Ilya, like it happened to Maria, to Bree, like, and Jeff is now living it. Like it's slow, but if you keep consistent, you will start getting more clients. That is the solution for everything.
Yeah, Jeff is a Rive guy right now. Like he's famous on Twitter for all his Rive projects. I love it. Like every time he
Yeah.
shares something, I love it.
Oh, sorry, wrong sound.
Yeah,
Bravo, Jeff.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jeff took that advice like to the heart, and he's doing exactly that. He found his unique set of skills, and he's doing his best to showcase his skills on his portfolio website with all those crazy animations that he created there, sharing work in progress every day. That's it. That's what you should do. Like sharing your projects, sharing your work all the time. Be consistent about sharing. Just like don't just share once, share all the time. Make sure that you're always there on people's minds, and then eventually you get something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Well, we've been here for an hour and a half, guys. Thank you so much for coming.